So welcome back to Built Different, my people. A different environment today. So before we dive into this one, please just bear with me here, because I bought a whiteboard and I've come to the realization that actually writing and talking at the same time is a lot harder than I thought it was. Multitasking is clearly not my strong point, but I'll get there. So just bear with me. So before we get into this, I want to give you a personal promise of what this channel is essentially going to be about moving forward, because Built Different, I guess, up until this point has become predominantly a mindset channel where I focused a lot on the theory, focusing on like how the mind works in the podcast studio. And I'll still be doing that stuff. But the goal has now become for me, especially with launching the mentorship, how to actually bridge that gap from having the knowledge and then how to actually apply it, I guess. So I guess it's become about how to take the neuroscience, the strategic thinking, habits, book reviews, all that kind of stuff that we spoke about, but now actually show you how to build that into your life and more importantly into your daily routines, because that's what matters. Because having all of this like knowledge is all, good and well, like it's great, but it doesn't really mean shit unless you're using it. And I think that's a pretty good summary of the world that we live in right now. We are in an era of information overload, but an implementation deficit. So I promise you one thing: if you follow along, implement everything I speak about throughout my content, this genuinely has the potential to change your life. And I don't say that lightly. But anyway, last week I announced my transition from fitness coaching to mental performance. And I just want to say genuinely, thank you so much for all the messages. But the golden question now is, why mental performance, which is the ultimate goal? You probably see my hairy back as I write on the board. See what I mean? It's so much harder. I'm right at the end of the screen already. So why mental performance? And in the most simple terms for me, this is just about how to work on your mind like you do your body. As genuinely having worked with so many people over the years, like I've not been in the mental performance space, but I've just massively seen a huge decline in people's mental health. Like they just struggle to believe in themselves, lack discipline, and struggle with like their own self-image, like towards themselves. And a lot of people are stuck in like what I class as a scarcity mindset, where they don't actually believe they've got the power to change their lives. But I want to tell you one thing through this content: that the circumstances you might be in right now do not have to dictate the rest of your life, because that decision is ours and ours only. And I don't think anyone is to blame for that understanding. I think it's just the way that society has gone. And that's a whole, different conversation itself. But losing the human connection, the comparison that social media now gives us, everyone's just busy all the time. Like just living in 2025 is just generally a task in itself. But this is the maddest part for me. That the second you say something like mental performance or mindset, people automatically think of weakness. Like if I was to just say the word mindset now and give you 10 seconds to think about it, think about the words that would come into your head. Like it's negative, it's mental health, anxiety, depression, like all of that kind of thing. Or if you were to go and tell a mate that you're reading a mindset book, you'd be like, fucking hell, are you all right? Like, are you struggling? Like, not because we're trying to improve ourselves. It's not self-improvement. It's classed as depression. But when we say we go to the gym and train our body, why is that classed as discipline? And why is that classed as being strong and dedicated? Like, it makes no sense. Because when you actually think about it, the brain is the single most powerful thing in all of our bodies by a mile. It literally controls every decision we make, everything we do, like everything. Yet none of us actually think about it and train it. And even though neuroplasticity now shows us that we can strengthen neural connections just from thought alone, like why wouldn't we do that? And if we think for argument's sake, like we look at the highest performing people on the planet, like Navy SEALs, high performance endurance runners, even innovators in the business space, like they are genuinely the most strong-minded people that you will ever meet. So in my eyes, it's very simple. Like I think if you can be this one word, which is disciplined, which is what I really think my whole program is going to be about, which is how to make yourself disciplined in every single area of your life. I genuinely believe if you do that, you're going to become successful by default. Like, I just think it's that simple. Like, discipline in every area, like, you will become successful, or you'll have a hard time not being successful. And yeah, that's on a little bit of a slant. And I also kind of write in this thinking, how much impact do these words actually have on a board? Is it even worth me writing them? But anyway, I'm going to stick with it. And the difference is, of these types of people, they don't focus on the mind because they're feeling mentally weak. They focus on it because of mental performance. They're not using it to process emotions and, sort of fall into the stigma of like what society tells about therapy. They're using it to make themselves mentally stronger. Like these Navy SEALs and people are like the bulletproof mentally. And that is how it should be. This framework is completely different. That I believe you should become so strong mentally that the problems you used to have aren't even problems anymore, simply because you've trained your mind to become so resilient to stress. Like, I just don't believe therapy is a thing. So I guess I could add this to my board. I don't really know where, but I could put therapy and then I could cross it out if I had a red pen, because I don't think therapy works. And that's obviously a personal opinion, and I know it will have helped a lot of people, and there's different types of therapy, of course. So like I don't want to be antagonizing with that, because of course it has its place, and I think it's fantastic at making people more self-aware of the problems that they've got. But dwelling in your feelings doesn't do anything for me. Like for me, it's about becoming so mentally strong that your problems ain't problems anymore. Or they are problems, but you're just strong enough to actually handle them. But anyway, I'm going off on a rabbit hole. So this channel will still cover a lot of theory. I will still talk about neuroscience. I'll still be going to the podcast studio because I do love that kind of stuff. And I do think theory is so important as a foundation, as if you're anything like me, and this is for any area of life, if I understand the logic behind something, I'm always going to believe and stick to it so much more. And I can actually believe it's going to work for me. And that's how I kind of got into this journey myself, by learning to start with. But now it's about bridging that gap and taking theory into action. And essentially that's what the content is going to be all about. And I want to use this channel to show how I actually live it in real time. The more practical things like my training, my daily routines, productivity hacks, even how to use AI in business, which is something I'm really passionate about now, and how I structure like the first hours of my day, my daily habits, like all of these types of things. Basically, all of the things that I think feed into this whole overarching concept of being a high performer from a mental standpoint. And don't worry, by the way, it's not all going to be on a whiteboard with these like shameful scribbles that don't really mean a lot. They're going to be different environments. And I actually filmed the video in the gym this week. Professional videographer recording the actual training session. So yeah, you don't have to put with this every time, because at the end of the day, it's all good and well seeing me speak all this jargon behind a microphone. I can talk the talk, but can I actually walk the walk and back it up? That's the question. I can say, oh, I go and sit in ice baths and I do cardio and everything, but like, do I actually do it? I just talk. But this to me is the how I want to document this, and what I really like showcasing to people, the work ethic and the level of effort and discipline it actually takes to truly change your life. Because I think there's a huge disconnect of like the level people think they need to go to really unlock that next level of the life. And I think if we speak about it quite broadly as well, like this to me is the first step of transformation. It's practicing about the person that you want to be in life. Like people say, fake it till you make it and all that. And it's genuinely so true. Because if you go about every one of your days where you practice living the life that you want to create, even before it's happened, that's when things really will change. And when you break it down, it's pretty simple, and it comes down to one word, which is operationalize. Like I was thinking about writing on the board, I was like, I don't know where to write it, so we're going to carry on. Operationalize. And what I mean by that is we take a goal, for example, someone wants to build an online business, take that as an example. Then we take that and we strip it down into component parts. So we think about, what would that person look like who created a successful business? What would they do in the day to day? How would they schedule the daily routine? What sacrifices would they make to make that happen? So I guess operationalizing essentially comes down to two things. Number one, your behaviors. So what traits do you need to have to make this goal happen? And number two, the primary habits that you need to build into your daily routine to make it likely that you're going to be successful. Then you just have to practice doing that every day and be disciplined to it to be that version of yourself. And the mad part is when you do this repeatedly, you genuinely rewire your subconscious mind through repetition of behaviors, patterns, and habits. And as we know from neuroscience, Mr. Joe Dispenza episode, that the subconscious mind is 95% of how we think, feel, and act. So the real key to changing the subconscious, which changes everything in our life and controls most of our brain, is to do things consistently. And that's why we have to build it into our behavior patterns and habits, before we kind of reach that goal, that pinnacle, what is it that we want in life, we have to practice being that person. It's like in bodybuilding. You don't just turn pro and then you start acting like a pro. You are acting like a pro years in advance of being that point, and that's the point of it. Like, you have to practice doing it. You have to fake it till you make it. Cliche, but it's so true. And before I kind of wrap up this one, I do actually want to share my own personal goals, and I feel nervous to say this. I'm getting twitchy on my toes. Essentially, so you can come on this journey with me. And for me, my ultimate goal in the years to come is to coach real high performers. And that's obviously why I'm focusing so heavily on mental performance, because that's the niche that I want to go into. And this is the type of people who are already absolutely killing it in life, but want to use that kind of mental performance unlock to tap into a new level of like productivity, success, whatever it may look like. And right now, even saying it out loud feels a little bit delusional because I have no idea how I get to that point or how far off I am. But I want to be able to look back on this video, in years to come and say, I actually made it happen, or at least I tried and give it everything I've got. And at the same time, I also want to build and scale the Coach Creator to become one of the best educational brands in the industry, and teach coaches how to be the best at what they do and leverage AI and ultimately just become the coaches that I believe the industry needs. And like, this is some pretty bold claims of like what I want to do, and I feel pretty far away from them right now. The thing is, I think it's so easy for people to post online when they've already made it, they've already been successful. But I think there's way more value in documenting it while you're still in the process, because no one really cares what you did once you were successful. People care, what did it actually take to get there? What sacrifice did you make? Like, that's where the magic really happens. So for me, mental performance is about aiming high, because I really think that's the best, most practical advice I could ever give to anyone listening right now. Set yourself a goal that feels completely out of reach, like you're living in absolute fucking cuckoo dreamland, la la land, whatever you want to call it. And then orient your whole entire life around it, like your mindset, your habits, your behaviors, all the things we've spoken about. Because like, really, why wouldn't you do that? It's not like you've got anything better to do with your life. And that's what I tell myself. I'm like, why wouldn't I do that? As the only fear I think we should have collectively now, is getting to the end of our life and knowing that we didn't give it everything, knowing that we left potential on the table. And I know that sounds horrendously deep, but that's the thing that scares me in life more than anything, like to waste potential of myself. So I guess this video, to wrap it up, has just been a brain dump of what this channel has become, what my goals are about, and what I'm going to be excited to document moving forward. But, generally, amongst the squiggles and everything else, like, I'm genuinely so grateful that you're here and you're on this journey with me. And if you have made it right till the end, without judging my whiteboard skills or even what the point of this whiteboard was, then you are already built different. But anyway, without further ado, thank you so much. I will improve my whiteboard skills, I promise you. But this is the first episode of what is to come and what this channel is going to be all about.